Ladies and gentle gamers, welcome back to To Be Determined. Today we're going to be going over all of the garden changes from yesterday's update. When I did yesterday's update video, the garden was closed due to some bugs, but they've been fixed now, so we can go over everything. So make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. We're on our way to 10k subs, and drop a comment if you want a chance at an F ad. I'm going to be choosing one commenter from this video to give an F ad, so if you want a chance at that, drop a comment, and let's jump into it. So basically how the garden works now is it has an AFK system. So even when you're not on the garden, visitors will spawn and so will pests. So you can kind of do them daily or every few hours. Basically every 15 minutes that you're not on the garden, a visitor will spawn just like it used to be, but now it can go all the way up to 5 visitors. So it used to be if you weren't on your garden for like 10 or 12 minutes, depending on your garden level, a visitor would spawn in. But now when you're not on the garden, every 15 minutes a visitor will spawn and they will go all the way up to the 5 max visitors. Pests have also received a pretty big change, so every hour that you're not online, a pest will spawn, all the way up to a maximum of 8 pests. And when you are online, when you're farming, one should now actually spawn every 5 minutes. If you have a spray, it's 2.5 minutes, but without a spray, it is 5 minutes of farming to spawn in your pest, and that is just when the cooldown is over. You're not guaranteed to spawn a pest every 5 minutes of farming. It's just you will not spawn them within 5 minutes of each other ever. And they boosted the rates of you spawning pests. So it used to be you could go like 20 minutes without spawning any pests, even though the cooldown was only 5 minutes. And now it's a lot more frequently pest spawns. So during contests, I've already had some issues with this, so you're probably going to want to pick up a bit of pest repellent if you're planning on doing some contests. But even if you're not, infinite vacuums and all the vacuums have been buffed quite a bit. Basically, they now have a 15 block range and they can reach through blocks. So even if you have a really big farm just like this that's like 7 blocks high and there's a pest that somehow spawns at the bottom of it or it gets to the bottom of it, you can just hold down right click and get them through blocks and be able to continue farming. And they also changed the way that pests spawn as well. So they will spawn at the highest Y level. That doesn't mean they can't crawl down to lower Y levels, but they will only spawn at the highest Y level block. So if you have a farm like this, they should spawn up here at the top on these pumpkins. And again, that doesn't mean that they can't crawl down to lower levels if there's space for it, but they will only spawn at the highest Y levels. I haven't done too much testing with this. Me and Miseryborn, one of my moderators, were theory crafting a little bit earlier about maybe you could just build one giant platform in the middle of each of your plots for the pests to spawn on. And that could be a pretty interesting way to get pests. Instead of having to cover the entire thing, you'll just know exactly where they are every time. But again, I haven't tested this, so that might work, it might not. But they can also no longer leave the plot they spawn in. So if I spawn some on the edge of this netherwart plot, they will not wander over to the pumpkin plot. They will always stay in the netherwart plot here. Also, earthworms are subject to that Y block as well. So if they burrow down when they're on this row of pumpkins, if they respawn somewhere else like you didn't one-shot them, then they will stay on the same Y level, so they won't go down way below if they burrow. Also, there used to be a bug where pests would spawn in plots that you hadn't unlocked yet. That has been patched, so they will not spawn in plots that you haven't unlocked yet. Also, the SkyMart has been changed a little bit, so there's farming essentials is one section, there's the barn skins, and then there's pests. So there's not really anything new in any of these except for pests. They added the portable washer, which if you consume will get rid of all sprayinator effects around your entire garden. So if you accidentally throw down a spray right before a contest, you don't have to worry about it. You can just pop this and the spray will disappear. They also buffed pest drop chances, so the drop chances of dung, cheese, plant matter, compost, and honey jars have all been buffed from 4% drops to 10% drops, so you get these a lot more often, which is very good for the Iron Man players. And then the 1% chance drops, so melon blocks, mutant netherwart, all of these types of blocks and enchanted items will drop at higher rates. So they used to be 1% chances, and now some of them are 2%, some are 3%, and melon blocks are 4%. And of course, with the tab list update, they did add pests to the garden. So there's a pest page that shows how many pests you have that are alive, whether or not you have a sprayinator effect, and whether or not you have a bonus active, which that bonus is from Philip here. I was very confused on what it was for a while, but it is from emptying your vacuum bag. So if you have that active, it will show how much time is left on that in the pest section on your tab. Also, they changed how the Pest Hunter handbook works, so you can now see which mobs are attracted by what, and you can click on each mob to view their drops and the drop chance. So if you were wondering, what do moths drop? Well, they're RNG is wriggling larva, which is a 0.5% drop chance. Well, what about mosquitoes? Theirs is clipped wings, which is a 1% drop chance. So you can just click on each one and see what the drop chance is for all of their drops. They also changed how the pest tracker effect works on a vacuum. So when you left click with it, it appears a lot faster, and you're definitely going to want to be in F5 to tell where it goes because it moves a lot quicker in the direction of the closest pest. And they also added the ability to track to the very first vacuum. It used to be only available after, I think, turbo, but now even at the lowest level vacuum, you can track pests. Also, if a pest managed to somehow fall in the void, that used to kill them, but now it will just teleport them back to whatever plot they were at before. They also did buff the pest repellent stuff, so if you pop one and you only want to have it active during a contest, as long as you have a booster cookie, you can actually turn that off in your booster cookie toggle potion effects. So if I, for instance, grab this low-level pest repellent and consume it, I can go into my booster cookie and find pest repellent and just turn it off right there. They also added a toggle to the pest hunter accessory line, so you can enable or disable the bonus pest chance if you want to. So it gives 60% at the top level of pest hunter artifact. So if you don't want to have that extra pest chance, you can just turn it off or leave it on depending on whether there's a contest or whatever you want to do. They also adjusted so moths are now actually attracted to lamps, which is glowstone blocks and beacons. So if you decide that you want to have moths be found the most and you want them to be easy to find, you can place glowstone lamps and beacons and they will go towards those if you have those on your plot that they spawned on. They also changed so when you open your SkyBlock menu, you can see the garden desk is right here in the same place that the heart of the mountain is when you're on a mining island. So you can just hover over that to see how many queued visitors you have as well. But that is everything from today's garden update. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to drop a like, subscribe. We're on our way to 10K subs, so every sub helps out. And thank you so much for watching to the end. I hope y'all have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one. God bless.